Imagine a nation once crippled by poverty and weak industries. That was China before the 1980s. Fast forward just 3 decades to the 2010s, and China had emerged as a global superpower. As we approach the 2030s, new Chinas are preparing to emerge throughout the globe. The 2030s will not just be about the traditional powers, they will be about the rapid rise of these geopolitical sleeping giants. Today, we're diving into 6 nations that are poised for massive transformation in the next decade. Perhaps these nations will one day surpass the superpowers of today, and perhaps that day isn't very far away. But before we dive in further, please like this video and subscribe to our channel for more geopolitical content uploaded weekly. Let's first look at one of the most populated nations in the world, India. By several recent estimates, India's population has already outpaced that of China's. At present, India accounts for 18% of the world's total population, and with a median age of just 28.8 years, it has a dynamic and youthful workforce, an asset China can no longer claim due to its aging population. In fact, by 2030, India's workforce will be more than twice the size of China's. India's demographic advantage is a game changer. With millions of young people entering the workforce each year, India is poised to become the world's 3rd largest economy by 2028, overtaking Japan and Germany. But it's not just the sheer size of its workforce that's impressive. India's youth is highly tech-savvy, and the country has been investing heavily in education, particularly in fields like artificial intelligence, robotics, and engineering. The growth of India's AI industry is a prime example of this demographic advantage. Currently valued at $8 billion, the sector is expected to expand to $22 billion by 2027 and $28.3 billion by 2030. In fact, India's tech talent pool is already a critical asset to the global economy. Around 72% of the US's H-1B visas for foreign tech workers are issued to Indian nationals, highlighting the country's prominence in global technology sectors. In the 2030s, India will not just be an emerging player, it will be a major force reshaping the global economic order. India might be the biggest threat to China in terms of population size, but there is another nation threatening China's position as #1 manufacturing nation: Vietnam. Vietnam may not have the same economic scale as China, but it's positioning itself to become the new manufacturing powerhouse of the 2030s. Vietnam has already attracted a slew of global companies looking to shift production out of China due to its cost advantages and trade tensions between the US and China. Companies like Nike, Adidas, and Apple have already moved substantial parts of their production to Vietnam, and the trend is accelerating. One of the most compelling examples of Vietnam's manufacturing shift is in the tech sector. While China was once the dominant player in electronics manufacturing, companies like Foxconn, Pegatron, and Wistron have begun shifting production to Vietnam. In fact, Apple, which once produced all iPads in China, has moved much of its production to Vietnam since 2021. This has also prompted other tech giants like Samsung to produce more than 50% of their phones in Vietnam. Vietnam is not only focused on traditional manufacturing, but also on embracing high-tech industries. The government is investing heavily in automation and robotics, with the AI service robotics market expected to grow by 24% annually between 2025 and 2030. This investment in advanced technologies combined with a skilled labor force makes Vietnam a prime candidate to lead in global manufacturing and innovation. In the 2030s, Vietnam's emergence as a key manufacturing and technological hub will likely reshape the global supply chain and manufacturing landscape, giving China a run for its money in terms of production. Do you think Vietnam will actually be able to overtake China's title as the #1 manufacturing nation by 2030? And there's another nation making substantial headway in tech innovations. Often referred to as the Giant of Africa, Nigeria has a population of approximately 227 million. Nigeria is Africa's largest country and one of the youngest, with more than 60% of its population under the age of 25. By some estimates, Nigeria is even expected to overthrow the United States as the third most populous country in the coming decades. But Nigeria's secret for the future is more than its growing population. Nigeria is Africa's tech frontier and has become a focal point for global investors and tech companies looking to tap into its vibrant digital economy. One of the standout features of Nigeria's growth is its rapidly expanding mobile technology sector. With over 200 million active mobile connections, Nigeria boasts one of the most dynamic digital markets in the world. The widespread adoption of mobile banking, e-commerce, and fintech innovations like PalmPay, Payga, and InterSwitch has revolutionized financial inclusion, granting millions of Nigerians access to services previously unavailable to them. And their digital revolution is not limited to banking. The youth-driven demand for tech and digital services has attracted major global players like Microsoft, Google, and Y Combinator, which have been investing heavily in Nigeria's growing tech ecosystem. What else do you expect from a nation with a median age of 18.1? Simply put, Nigeria's young, tech-savvy population is well positioned to drive the country's digital economy in the 2030s. As its digital infrastructure and talent pool continue to expand, Nigeria is on track to become one of the world's leading tech powers by the 2030s. While Nigeria's tech supremacy is expanding, there is another nation to its east dominating the sphere. While countries in the Middle East are battling for superiority, the UAE's visionary leadership is quietly transforming it into a technological powerhouse. The UAE's ambitious National AI Strategy 2031 aims to integrate artificial intelligence into key sectors, including transportation, healthcare, renewable energy, and education. AI growth is projected to contribute about $96 billion to the UAE's economy by 2030, 14% of its GDP. To support this, the country is heavily investing in AI education and talent, including the establishment of the world's first University of Artificial Intelligence in Abu Dhabi. This focus on developing a highly skilled workforce is positioning the UAE as a global hub for innovation. In addition to AI, the UAE is pioneering new smart cities that leverage the latest technologies, including 5G and even research into 6G connectivity. These cities aim to be at the forefront of urban planning and technological integration. The UAE is also building the world's largest single-site solar park, which will generate up to 5,000 megawatts of power by 2030, more than enough to power a city as large as Madrid. The UAE's embrace of sustainability, technological innovation, and AI positions it as a regional and global leader in the coming decade. Its forward-thinking policies and investments make it one of the most exciting nations to watch in the 2030s. Let's move even further east now, to a nation that's comprised of over 17,000 islands, Indonesia. And it's not just the staggering geography of Indonesia that has turned it into a regional power player. Indonesia is often overlooked as a major global power, but its strategic location and growing influence make it a country to watch in the 2030s. Indonesia is the world's largest archipelagic country, with over 17,000 islands and abundant natural resources, including vast reserves of nickel, coal, oil, and marine resources. One of Indonesia's most strategic moves has been its decision to ban the export of raw materials like nickel. By doing so, it's encouraged foreign companies to invest in local manufacturing, ensuring that Indonesia benefits domestically from its resources. This policy is already paying off, with billions of dollars flowing into the country's manufacturing sector. Indonesia is also positioning itself as a key player in the electric vehicle supply chain, thanks to its nickel reserves, which are crucial for battery production. Indonesia's strategic maritime location is another major asset. Situated between the Indian Ocean, South China Sea, and Pacific Ocean, Indonesia controls critical shipping lanes and trade routes. This geographical advantage, combined with its growing digital infrastructure and investments in infrastructure development, gives Indonesia significant geopolitical leverage. Indonesia has successfully balanced relationships with both China and the US, securing major investments from both powers. The US has committed $20 billion to enhance cyber and digital cooperation, while China is building a major high-speed railway and investing in Indonesia's new capital city. This ability to maintain strong ties with both global superpowers makes Indonesia a geopolitical player with enormous potential to influence the decade ahead. About 11,000 miles away from Indonesia, another nation is preparing to sit high at the 2030s table of power. A South American nation rich in natural resources and the world's largest producer of coffee, sugar, and soybeans, Brazil plays a vital role in global agriculture. It's also home to extensive mineral deposits, including iron ore, tin, and copper. In the 2030s, Brazil is poised to capitalize on these resources by advancing its industrial capabilities, particularly in agriculture and manufacturing. Brazil's government has set ambitious goals to mechanize its agricultural sector, increasing mechanization from 18% to 70% by 2033. This will dramatically boost productivity while making the country's agriculture more competitive globally. Furthermore, Brazil is investing in the digitalization of its industries, with plans to modernize its manufacturing sector and produce its own semiconductors. Brazil's large population and growing middle class are also contributing to its economic transformation. The country is increasingly focusing on renewable energy, particularly in the wind and solar sectors, positioning itself as a leader in the green energy revolution. With its vast natural resources, growing industrial sector, and economic diversification, Brazil is preparing to be a major force in the global economy of the 2030s. The world is evolving rapidly, and the 2030s promise to bring significant change. While established powers like the US and China will remain influential, the emerging nations we've discussed today are set to reshape the global economic and geopolitical landscape. Countries like India, Vietnam, Nigeria, the UAE, Indonesia, and Brazil are rising quickly, each with unique advantages and strategies for the future. These nations are no longer just emerging, they are positioning themselves to dominate in the decades ahead. The global order is shifting, and the future belongs to nations who can adapt, innovate, and collaborate. But with great opportunities come great challenges. Resource competition, geopolitical tensions, corruption, oligarchy, and the threat of climate change all pose as significant roadblocks. And any of these challenges could cripple the potential of these geopolitical sleeping giants. Which country do you think will rise to dominate the global stage in the 2030s? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below.